Hey guys, Soulless here, and today I wanted to talk about the elephant in the room of the Pokemon games, I guess you could call it. And what that is the Pokedex controversy with Sword and Shield, how not every Pokemon will be coming back in the game. And by that, just to clarify what that means, because I've seen a lot of people complain the hashtag bring back the national dex is what everybody's been saying to the Pokemon Twitter account, Instagram account, all of the accounts. And anytime any of the Pokemon related accounts do that, you'll see usually some form of hashtag bring back the national Pokedex. So today I wanted to talk about kind of what that meant, but what I wanted to clear up about it is when people say that, they don't necessarily mean that there has to be a physical national Pokédex in the game. It's the fact that Game Freak will not be bringing back the Pokemon that are not in the Galar Dex. So, Pikachu's in the Galar Dex, but if Lickitung, for instance, wasn't in it, or Tropius, or, whatever, just random Pokemon, if they're not in it, then they're not in this game at all. You cannot transfer them from home. If you put them into home, there's no way to put them back into bank. So pretty much Pokemon Home is to go along with the meme about it, it is Pokemon Jail for certain Pokemon. So that's something that does kind of sting, especially as a longtime Pokemon fan. We've been able to take our Pokemon with us for most of our journeys. Not every single one, obviously. Gen 2 to Gen 3, there were hardware limitations. And I guess we could just go on to the reasoning that Game Freak gave us, because that's kind of one of the first ones, is they're saying due to hardware limitations, they are having a problem with being able to bring every single Pokemon. And my argument to that, like I said, I'm not a programmer, but my argument to that would be, well, you had 3D sprites 3D animations for all of the Pokemon, 3D models for every Pokemon through Gen 7. Well, they started back in Gen 6 during X and Y, but they've had it for every Pokemon and every form, Mega Evolution, all of that, in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. And they were future-proofed. So I get they've added some new textures to Pokemon, because they have done that, and they've made, if you look at the Machoke, for instance, you can definitely tell some difference. But at the end of the day, I feel like that just isn't that great of an argument, just as far as hardware limitations. Now, the next thing they said is to balance out the competitive scene. And my problem with that is it has never been balanced. In the Let's Go games here, with a smaller Pokédex, the smaller you make the Pokédex, no matter who you pick and pull, you get large amounts of people using the same Pokemon. So for this game, a lot of people are using, for instance, Metal and Alolan Muck, as far as the competitive scene and usage goes. And it is a higher percentage than any Pokemon from Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon's metagame. And with balancing that out, also, you can have separate cups online. So if you have a special competitive cup that is Galar Dex only, that's something that you could have done, and you could also make it so they have to have been caught in the Galar region too. So that way, you would limit it to whatever you want that competitive meta to be. But they've just never cared about the meta before, so it's just kind of weird to hear them say that now and use it as a reasoning, just because it's never been balanced, like I said. But as you limit, if you just look back at every game, or games before Bank came out, those cups, the usage of certain Pokemon, it's not like people hardly use Butterfree, but because you cut out all the rest of the Pokemon, and only leave like 151 like this. It's not like Butterfree is going to be used more. It's just the Pokemon, as you go down on the list, on the tier list of Pokemon, whichever ones are higher up, those ones get used even more because nobody's going to make as diverse of a team. So that's my problem with that, and like with people thinking that the meta is going to be new or better, because even if you remove like Landorus, for instance, he's used a lot. If you remove him, there's just going to be a Pokemon that acts like as however you use him in a battle. There's going to be a Pokemon that acts just like that, for similar abilities, similar stats, and so on and so forth. So you're really not going to get anything new. It's just going to be a different Pokemon that fills the same role. You're still going to see the same amount of people using, only by the end of tournaments, the same 15, 20 Pokemon maybe. So the competitive argument is just invalid with the fact that you can make a separate cup for it, and I mean, it's just proven that it's just never really helped the competitive scene, with limiting who we have. And as far as like anything goes, like hacking or anything, well, I could still, like, if Coughing is in the new Galar Dex, I could hack a Coughing and then trade him over. It's just I couldn't do it with any and every Pokemon. It'd only be certain ones. So it's not really going to prevent anything like that. So that was a problem to me. The next thing they said was the improved animations, and that's where it gets a little weird, I guess. Because sure, it sounds like they're using a bunch of new animations, but like I said, they have the 3D models and they have walking animations, and so we're just seeing a little bit more expression through these models. But it's just kind of hard to see because I don't think they showcase that enough. Like, that's something that I think is a valid argument, but they didn't validate it, if that makes any sense. So in the future, I would like to see, okay, I've heard people talk in the past, in like the background playing the game, saying like, oh, if you beat a gym leader, then your Pokemon and you do like a special like handshake or dance or something. I forget what it was. I think it was on Joe Merrick's, the Cerebi guy, his Twitter, which is really cool. But again, if it's only after gym battles, like, I hope it's kind of used a little bit more, to have more expression with Pokemon. And again, that's fine and that's great. I love more animated Pokemon. But yeah, it's just odd to me that they didn't show it, because if that's going to be a reasoning, then I want them to show it, because the only thing they've shown so far is Dynamax, and I get like it's going to be blown up and the Pokemon's going to be huge, and I'm sure that's going to have to use multiple different models with animations, but some of them can be reused, like the clouds around it. And I'm not saying that that's going to be any easier. I'm just saying that the problem to me, I guess, with all of this is I understand the timing. I understand that animating is going to be harder and they want to dedicate more time to certain Pokemon. But old Pokemon, they do not need to Dynamax, because you could just restrict it so any Dynamaxing or any of the, what's the other thing? Like any online competitive battle can only be used with the Galar Dex only. So that's something that's just really odd to me, that I guess like they have the models there, and there's certain animations they're going to have for every Pokemon. And so in order to do that, I don't know why they didn't like announce it as a patch. And I think they said that they were considering it, or they were undecided. And so, I hope they come to the right decision, which would be to roll them out. Maybe not all at once, but just, in 20s or 50s every however long it takes, to do 20 or 50 Pokemon at a time until you fill out the entire Pokedex. Because, like I said, you're going to have Pokemon Home, and once we, move our Pokemon to it, there's nothing we can do with certain Pokemon now. Anything moved to Pokemon Home cannot be moved anywhere except for to Pokemon Sword and Shield. But if they're not in the Galar Dex, they can't be moved there. So a lot of people have been saying that they're going to complement it by using like the Diamond and Pearl remakes, for instance, which are probably going to be the 2020 games. If not, they're probably going to be Let's Go Johto. Either way, sure, they could do that, something like that. They could incorporate some of the older Pokemon, but again, my question is, are they going to, if they're going to do that and animate those, then why wouldn't they just patch in Sword and Shield and make it so all the Pokemon are available? Because then they would have every Pokemon 3D modeled, or almost all of them. And so that's just something to me, like they should have announced a patch, or they should, just think about doing that heavily, because I really think that would help the morale in the community. A lot of people have been saying they've been really toxic. I've seen some toxic people, definitely on both sides. For me personally, I have certain Pokemon that are my favorites. I don't think they're going to be in. Cyndaquil, I do not think is going to be in. I'm not sure about like Lurantis. There's just Pokemon like that where I really wanted to bring them over. Cyndaquil I've had since way back when on Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I'm sure like the Kanto starters, most of my Kanto team from Leaf Green, I'm sure they'll be coming over, but I don't know about like my Blaziken from Ruby back in the day, because I've had that with me. So there's just like a lot of fear, I guess, for like, oh man, I've had this Pokemon forever. I hate the idea of not having it with me on my new adventure. So I feel like if they patch it in, that would be the best case scenario. If they do something where like, oh, Diamond and Pearl will have the other ones that aren't in the Galar Dex, then it's just going to be kind of weird, because they're not going to be fully connective, or they're going to have to patch it in so you can battle those Pokemon, but you can't have them in the Sword and Shield. So at some point, like, we're either just going to start cutting Pokemon, and like maybe Glameow, for instance, will never be in a Pokemon game ever again. That's my fear, is like, I understand not being able to do the timing, but like as far as patching goes, you can always put them in, and like you don't have to have them as a focus in the game, and maybe even you can exclude certain Pokemon from even more than just the Dynamaxing. Maybe there's even more you can do to limit them, so that way there's less work that has to go into those Pokemon, just so that way people can have them with them. I get that we're getting on over 1,000 Pokemon with forms and everything, but I feel like it's just a problem that they kind of created with creating mass amounts of Pokemon, and I'm happy with the ones we have, and I'm happy that they're making new ones, but maybe like focus more on the future on animation. And they're doing that now, and that's great. Like I said, I'm happy for that. Patch it in. I would be fine if they would say, hey, from the start you won't be able to have all the Pokemon. Even once Home comes out, all the Pokemon won't be out, but within a year of launch, you will be able to have every single Pokemon on Sword and Shield. I think that would be something great they could do. And they should just figure out, how they want to do that. I would really like to see all the Pokemon coming back. And, for a game like this, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, I was kind of disappointed they didn't incorporate some of them. That whole like chopping up the decks makes sense for like a Let's Go game, but for the main series games, it is just really weird to me to not have them all. So that's something I hope they incorporate here in the future, is they patch those in. Any Let's Go games, you can cut up the decks, have all of the decks from that region. But like, I wish in this Kanto Dex they would have had maybe another 50 Pokemon sprinkled in throughout the other random regions. Maybe the evolutions of Kanto Pokemon from the Sinnoh games, like what were they, like, I can't even think now. Well, Johto had Blissey, so you could evolve your Chansey. And then there was like Magmortar and Rhyperior and Electivire. Maybe incorporate them. So, that's just a topic, I guess, for another video. But pretty much, just overall, like, I guess what I really want to get across is, I mean, don't harass Game Freak. You got to understand that their time, what they say with timing is it's not something they could just simply delay. They, you know, the Pokemon Company and everything is so much more than just the games. And the games are a small portion of it, but they make so much money that small portion from the games is still a huge amount of money. That's the other thing that people need to realize is, like, when they say it's a small portion, the games are still some of the best-selling games every year of all time. Yeah, they do really well. So it's not something where it's like, oh, it's just completely on the back burner. Like, these games still make a lot of money. So, I mean, they have the time after the game comes out, I think, to maybe like have some of their staff or to hire some extra people. They definitely have the money for that to help patch in these Pokemon. And so I would like to see them do that. Like I said, don't harass Game Freak about it, because they just, with the Pokemon anime, with the movies, with the trading cards, with the plushies and whatever else, the figures and all of that, it's, you know, they have little keychains, all kinds of merchandise. They can't simply delay it, because they'd have to delay everything, and, you know, that's going to be a problem. So like I said, just if they could just patch it in, that would be great. That's pretty much, I think, all I really have to say on the matter for now. Now it's just kind of a waiting game, seeing what they decide, what they want to do with everything. And I'm hoping that like I said, I'm hoping that we get back all the Pokemon in the end, because I really think that they could slowly roll them out to the point where Diamond and Pearl Remake come out. All the Pokemon will be in that game. All the Pokemon will be in Sword and Shield, hopefully. And then, you know, they can, if they want to do more expressive, more Dynamax-like stuff, they can just make it so only certain Pokemon do that. And, you know, let us know that in the future. Just let us know, like, a game plan of what they want to do. And I think cutting every Pokemon completely is not the right plan, but putting certain Pokemon on the back burner as, like, okay, they can't do this, they can't do this, they can't do this. You can have them, they can battle, but they won't have as many unique animations. Obviously, you can't encounter them all, so they won't have the overworld animations. So, you know, I think just limiting it to that, I think people would understand more with such a large franchise of having so many Pokemon. But, you know, completely cutting them, I think, would be just a bit of a problem. And like I said, I just want to see what they do with this. But what I want to know now is what you guys think. So let me know down below in the comment section what you guys think about, you know, are we going to get them through patches? You know, are you going to get the game regardless? Like, I'm going to get the game probably regardless. But I would like them to announce a patch. It's very hard for me as a very long time Pokemon fan to have to let go of certain Pokemon. Like, that just doesn't sit right. And, you know, I'd just like to see a limited number of new Pokemon from here on out. Gen 9, only add 20 new Pokemon. You know, to me, I don't care. I'd rather have a good story, a nice region, a battle frontier, contest back maybe. Just things like that I'd rather see over new Pokemon. And I get new Pokemon can be marketable, but maybe just, I don't know, having a way to filter it or bring them in slower. You know, there's got to be some sort of roadmap that they can make out for us. So like I said, just let me know down below what you guys think. If you like the video, go ahead and give it a like. If you disagree, then let me know down below what you disagree with or what you agree with. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'm Soulless, and I will see you guys in the next one.